Hello, good morning. I'm back after a couple of months absence from YouTube. Just fancied a break from making movies. It's coming up to 11:30 AM on Tuesday the 16th of September, and you'll gather from the thumbnail that I'm out on the Athelstan Pilgrim way. I'm going to try and ride around the whole Benefice today, the Baydon Brook Benefice. The reason I left this Benefice till September was because the Pilgrim Way has been launched in about 3 different stages, and the final 2 benefices, this one and the Upper Thames Benefice, were only launched about a week ago. So that's the plan. I'm going to visit 6 churches, hopefully collect 6 stamps, and then head back the way I came out along the Fossway. I've just ridden up the Fossway, the old Roman road from Exeter to Lincoln, from my hometown of Bath. Since I left the Fossway, haven't seen anybody or any traffic. Then all of a sudden get passed by a car and there's a cyclist coming the other way. You can see how open and agricultural it is right there. Morning. We're heading towards Ashley. I'll show you the leaflet and the map about what we're doing later on. But at the moment, I can't see a village, let alone a church. I'm told some of them are difficult to find. Again, I'll explain as the video goes along why that is and how I know. Okay, a couple of miles after leaving the Fossway, we're coming into a village. There's no boundary sign. I'm assuming this is Ashley. None of the... oh, there we are. Ashley down here, yeah. Colkerton. This is where my Garmin is sending me. Morning. Okay to come by? Right. Thanks. Just letting you know I was there, I don't want to start you. Thanks. Always very careful and cautious passing horse riders. It's a long way down. I don't want to start with the horse. It's a long way down. I know that from painful experience. My friend Andrew, who's a fellow YouTuber, I'll put a link to his channel down below, and a Facebook friend, warned me this one is a bit tricky to find and it feels like you may be trespassing but you're not. And hey, I've just overshot this gravel turning. Oh, I can see what he means actually. This just looks like you're going into someone's drive. He had warned me, and I made sure when I was mapping the route out on the Ride with GPS app that I made sure I zoomed in on the church and I'd go by them. And I still overshot this little gravel track. Thanks buddy for the warning if you're watching. I think I've just seen the church tower. You see what I mean? It really feels like someone's drive. I thought I saw the church. Oh, is that it through there? There's the churchyard. Have I missed the entrance? Or is it round here? Oh, there's a path leading up there. Do you see what I mean? It really does feel like you're cutting through somebody's property. Here we are. Here's the gate. Here's the one I'm entrancing through anyway. The first of today's 6 churches. When I was planning, I was trying to work out where all these villages were, and I recognise and I'm familiar with most village names apart from this one. I couldn't place this, and I honestly don't think I've ever been by this church before. Going to be the porch round there by the look of it. South facing porch, bathed in lovely autumn sunlight. Now the rule of thumb on the Athelstan Pilgrim Way, for the stamps at least, is if you cannot gain access to the church if they're locked, the stamps should be in the porch. And a cursory glance shows they're not in the porch here. So let me try that handle on this lovely old wooden door. And yes, it's open. Okay. Let's go and take my hat off and get my pilgrim passport, go inside. Actually, before we go inside, a quick refresh of what I've been doing and what the Athelstan Pilgrim Way is. It's a commemoration for the 1000th anniversary of England's first king, the first king of the United England anyway, King Athelstan. His capital was in nearby Malmesbury, and they've linked 36 churches in North Wiltshire in 6 benefices. And each church has got a stamp in. You can pick up a pilgrim passport, and each stamp has an ink stamp, and you just find the corresponding place on the passport and you stamp your passport. So it's a lovely record of the journey. That has added so much enjoyment. And there's also a dog in there called Stan. I'll show you that. So there's 6 benefices. You can see they're different shadings of colour. The project has been launched over about a year and a bit. So the first 2 benefices were launched in June of last year, 2024. The next 2 benefices were launched at Easter this year, April 2025. And to mark the 1100th anniversary of the coronation of England's first king, the final 2 benefices were launched about a week ago, September the 5th, the weekend of. So today I've ridden up from Bath along the Fossway, the old Roman road that headed from Exeter up to Lincoln. It's a fantastic way to get to some of these benefices. So I came all the way up to there, and this is my first church at Ashley. And the second one will be Credwell, Oaksey, Minety, Hankton, Charlton. Then I'll cut a corner off to Malmesbury, take the Fossway back. I'll put a diagram of the route up. You'll see it's pretty much out and back along the straight line. The Fossway, almost like a magnifying glass at the top, the circuit, and then back down the Fossway. And here's my pilgrim passport. I've been loving collecting the stamps. So that's all the stamps from the first 4 benefices. Today there'll be 6, and then next time there'll be 5. 11 in total to go. Let's pop in and find the stamp for St James, Ashley. Gosh, look at that carving above the arch. It's wonderful stonework. Whenever you see an old door like that, medieval door, you turn the handle. It may even be a sanctuary ring. I just wonder what's going to be behind that door. Let's go and find out. Well, it's dark to start with. I've just lit up the church a bit. Here's all the paperwork and stamp. Collect other passports there. There's a booklet for each benefice, so I've been collecting them. You can download them online for nothing. They ask for a donation. I've been picking up the hard copies, and they ask a suggested donation is £4. I've just been giving them £10, just basically because I've loved this project so much. And there's also a children's project. So the pilgrim passport is for people like me really, who like exploring, and that's just given it such another dimension. But there's also a children's project to locate Stan the dog. Do you get it? Athelstan, Stan the dog. They're not difficult to find, but you do have to look around a little bit. Look at this wonderful church, the lime-washed walls, bell tower at the back. I just love looking for Stan the dog. It's as much enjoyment as actually stamping the passport, actually. They're not hidden thoroughly. They're not really well hidden, but you do have to look round for them. And then when you... Oh, there he is, look up there. If you spot them, it's like spotted an old friend. Meant for children. I'm pretty sure a lot of us adults are still grown-up children. and lovely stained glass windows in the chancel facing east, sun streaming in through the south, raised altar into the vestry, I'd imagine. Wow, the carving in the arch, the corbels, stonework supporting the roof. Wow, amazing. Stone pulpit, wonderful arches. Oh look, there's some hints of wall paintings there. That would have been the YouTube of the day, seen by some as a distraction. And back towards the west window at the bell tower. It's the route of Baydon, all the business end of the bells. I arrived at a church a couple of years ago by complete coincidence. At the same time as a bell ringer, I kind of told him I like churches, and he said, do you want to come up and have a look at the bells? And he took me up and he showed me a little bit of bell ringing, and I just didn't realise it was so complicated. You know, when you hear it go ding dong, that's actually quite skillful. And he was telling me it's based on ancient algorithms, and he was showing me some of them, and they looked really, really mathematically complex. So I checked outside. That's St James at Ashley. Stamps are kept in these Tupperwares. There's a stamp and an ink pad. I always stress you really need to seal it back up straight away. You don't want it drying out for other people. There you go, you can see it's orange. Seal the ink pad up straight away. I gave it a really good press because some of them come out quite light. And there it is, St James Church at Ashley. After a couple of months off, I've restarted the Athelstan Pilgrim Way with the first stamp of today. I did say I was going to come up in September after these two benefices were launched with the booklets and stamps and do a 2-day trip overnight camping, but I chose not to. I just felt 11 churches in one trip is kind of a bit of an overload. 6 is almost. So that's the reason for today. With that benefice, I've worked out another route from Bath, make it nice and leisurely, then head down to, I think it's Chippenham or Swindon station, and just get the train back a couple of stops. Looking through the visitors book, the last visitor was the 13th with Athelstan Pilgrims, Purton, Bath, Laterton. I know who that is because that's true. He was here. As I said, I'll put a link to his video down below. I loved watching that. It really made me realise, yes, I want to try and ride this benefice before I go on holiday soon. And then the other benefice will be after my holiday. I love seeing the Athelstan Pilgrims. So I've put the 16th and 9th, Anglesey, Bath Sunset, Athelstan Pilgrim Cyclist. Okay, let's head to our next church. On these lovely roads and in what is a nice sunny day. So we're at Ashley. The next one would be Credlewell. They come thick and fast now. Okay, head out the church, just follow my nose, or more precisely follow the Garmin track. Okay, the crunch of gravel as we leave. And then we're heading out to that road there. I can see what Andrew meant. It really does feel like you're infringing on people's property. Okay. Next church. I think I said Credwell, didn't I? Got a terrible memory. As I said, the Athelstan Pilgrim Way, linking up all the churches, of course the church has been there hundreds of years, but linking them up into the themed Athelstan Pilgrim Way has been an ongoing project in stages, and the final stage was the weekend of September the 5th to mark the 1100th anniversary of Athelstan's coronation. There were lots of events going on leading up to that and during it. Walks, cycle rides, talks at the churches, coffee mornings, that sort of thing. With my interest in history, with my lifelong interest in history and being a lifelong cycle tourist, I love melding it too. So the theme of the Roman Fossway coming out, the equivalent of the M5 in 2,000 years ago, and this Anglo-Saxon kingdom, I just love the thought of, for hundreds and then thousands of years, what people around here would have been doing. About a mile or so further on, this is the boundary for Crudwell, the village of our next church. Crudwell's quite a big place, so I've just joined the main road. I'm guessing the church will be along here somewhere. I'm getting a bit peckish, so it might be a good place to stop for lunch as well. In fact, I've realised I think I know where the church is. I'll tell you a funny story about it when we get there. You take this right hand turn, signpost is East Court, and the church is up here. There it is along there. Well, there is a church, I'm assuming that's ours. Yeah, little lich gate, lovely tiled roof. 12:10, yeah, no wonder I'm getting hungry. I suddenly remembered this because I did this 100-kilometre Audax a couple of years ago and I lost my brevet card here. There was an information control coming up. It was along there a few miles in the end, but I knew it was coming up and I just wanted to remind myself of the question. I've said this before, I've got a terrible working memory, terrible short-term memory. I can't hang on to information. So I just wanted to remind myself what to look for and what the question was. And I must have put it back in my back pocket not very well, and I dropped it here. And I found out when I got there. So I finished the route. I've stopped at all the controls, told them sorry, I'm DNF. But I finished the ride, but just haven't got my card. Someone picked it up and posted it to me and sent it to me because my name and address was on the back of it. Whether that was another cyclist or one of the villagers, I don't know, but that happened here. So a nice memory of this church, St Crudwell All Saints Church. Porch by the look of it. Let's go and see if we can get in and whether we can find the stamp. And now the route's been launched, look, I saw this on their Facebook page, they're starting to put these lovely badges. There's the Athelstan Pilgrim Way logo. Here's the church, All Saints. Lots of wreaths in the porch, but no sign of the Athelstan stamp, so I'm assuming the church is open. I'm hoping so. I've also thought of somewhere other than here where to have my lunch. Funny enough, it's connected to that Audax I've done. I always stop there and have a snack rather than hog a place at a control. Okay, let's pop in, have a look, see if we can find the stamp. I've made sure I've checked the writing on the box here. You can see green against green. For somebody like me, it's difficult to read. All Saints Crudwell, that one there, right below the red stamp. Okay, lots of posters and leaflets on the board about the Athelstan Pilgrim Way, but the stamps aren't here, so let's hope the church is open. Yes, it is. Gosh, this is a really big church, much bigger than the last one. Again, I think I'm going to try and find some lights. Can't always see them, it's not always obvious. In fact, I don't think I will actually, because this here is quite light. There's the stamp. So just to recap, Fossway from Bath, that was our first church. This is our second one. That'll be our third and our lunch. Then it'll be 1, 2, 3 this afternoon. Okay, let's have a look round first of all. Then I'll come back, sign the visitor's book and do my stamp. Gosh, whereas that other one was all lime plastered and whitewashed. This is all bare stone. Blimey. Looks like strap pointing. It's not great. Chapel that side by the look of it, then straight out the central into the chancel at the step. Is that a piscina over there? little well where they poured down the water of the wine after a service, yeah. Cook's matches and some candles. Basic table water. What's this in here? Gosh. Oh, this must be the vestry, I'd imagine. Yeah, safe. The robes. Oh, I thought this was a chancel. It must be like an open plan vestry. All the Christmas decorations. They'll be up soon, won't they? Tearing up there. That's the clergy's door, I'd imagine. Yeah. Yeah, I was going to find some light, but I don't think I will. Sometimes it can ruin the atmosphere. There's a kitchen area at the back, running water, if you ever needed it here on a really hot day. Had that problem quite a few times this summer. Yeah, here is fairly light, because the west, the bell tower windows got no stained glass in, so that's lighting this area up. Okay, first off the stamp and then the visitor's book. Press the stamp down good and hard on the pad, because some of the lighter colours are quite faded when you put them into the passport. So that was it there, wasn't it? All Saints, Credwell. There we go. Nice solid looking stamp. Quickly seal that up. Put it away. Quick look at the book. Laterton, Shrivenham, Oxford, Baydon Hall, Chippenham, Athelstan Pilgrims. I'm really getting off and seeing that now actually. There we are, 16th of the 9th. There we are, 16th of the 9th, 25, Andy C, past sunset, Athelstan Pilgrim on a bicycle. And I've got my stamp. Oh yes, Stan the dog, nearly forgot. In a church of this size, it probably will take a little bit of scouring around and see if I can find it. I'm struggling to find it. Stan, where are you? It's just another cuddly. Is that Stan? Is that Stan the dog? I think that might be Stan the dog. It's the biggest one I've seen so far. Just looking back from the chancel of the nave, that looks like it squints the opening so people can see through. And is that a weakest to the wall seat? Not sure. Seating in churches is relatively modern. Just going back about 500 years, I believe. In the past, people stood or they maybe sat on the floor for really long ceremonies, but they would sometimes have seats set back in the wall by windows for the elderly and the infirm, which is, as I'm told, that's where the saying weakest to the wall comes from. That looks a little bit too modern for a weakest to the wall seat. I'm not sure. Gosh, look at all the lights on the wall, the sun shining in and catching the stained glass windows. Well, I'm assuming that's Stan round there. 6 churches in one day is kind of pushing it a little bit. You sense I'm kind of rushing a little bit. Okay, let's press on about another mile to the next church. So our next church will be at Oaksey. There's a shop there with a lovely little garden next to it with a seat, so hopefully if we can get a seat there, that'll be a good place to have lunch. That way. Couple of miles on really quiet lanes. This is the village of Oaksey, and here's the boundary sign. We're about to intersect with this left to right road. It's T-junction. Right opposite is the village shop and stores, post office. Right next to that is a little park, which is where I'm going to stop and have my lunch. Then I know the church is a bit further along that way. I've never been in it, but I've passed it many times. Lovely little village stop here. I've used this so often on old axes, calendar events and DIY old axes that I've done. Just right next to it, off to the left, just a lovely little memorial park, just down there. Here we are, Earl's Corner, a lovely little well garden, kindly donated in 1931 by Captain and Mrs. William Phipps as a playground for village children. Please enjoy this generous gift, everybody welcome. This is where I often stop and have a snack, and that's exactly where I'm going to have my lunch today. Lovely little place. So on that calendar event that runs from Bristol, that's the secret control there, or somewhere around here they'll be asking you a question like how far is Tetbury on that signpost or something like that, what's the weight limit on that road, something you need to be here to answer, and then they carry on that way to the next manned control. I always sit and have my sandwich here, have a little bit of peace to myself, which is exactly what I'm going to do today. Signs of autumn. My bike leant up against that picnic table, and I've got devices charging in the back. This lovely sun trap for my sandwich. As I said at the top of this video, had a couple of months off of YouTube. I think what it is, I just felt I was running out of ideas and I didn't want to keep churning out repetitive stuff. It's the same thing over and over again. Plus the fact my summer holiday, the Thankful Village tour, was just so good. It met so many needs and wants and exceeded it. And editing that took quite a lot of work actually, so mentally I felt a little bit drained. So hence the reason, but I've been doing plenty of stuff. The winter project, which drifted right into summer, visiting all the CCT properties in the ancient historic county of Gloucestershire, all their churches. I finished that, I've wound that up, that was really good. I went off camping, fantastic. Again, I just didn't want to video, I just wanted to enjoy it without filming it. And because we've had such a dry summer, there's some lakes near me that were man-made. They were flooded in the 1950s. One of them, Chew Valley, actually flooded a village called Morton. And when the reservoir level gets really low, you can see bits of the old village. When the reservoir gets really low during droughts and long dry spells, as it's been this summer, you can see the old village sticking up. I went over there recently, had a look at, you can see the road going across, which has been underwater for, what's that, 70 odd years. And there's even a bridge there, you see the arch on the bridge, so that's fantastic. Again, I rode out there, I just chose not to film it, took photographs. So that's what I've been up to. But I'm really quite keen to get back making videos now, especially with the autumn coming up. I've got some plans. Nothing I love more than going off on an autumnal day and getting to an overnight stop in the dark and just having that wonderful turning up a nice cosy place with a roaring fire, that sort of thing on a winter's night. So that's probably what's going to be coming up over the next few months, winter rides, overnights. And also I want to finish this project off, actually finish the final, the Upper Thames Benefice off, but that would be a train assisted ride. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing, what's coming up. But what's immediately coming up is my lunch. I'll see you after lunch, then we're heading along to the church. Hopefully got a third of the 6 stamps for today. Just a quick bit about the bike I'm on today. It's my giant Tough Road SLR2 touring bike. It's the one I bought July of last year to replace the Caribou that I had stolen on a train coming back from a holiday. I've been through the modifications before, so I won't repeat it, just the mudguards, the rack, the saddle. But I've done a couple of bits of maintenance round about the anniversary of it, shortly before and shortly after. So a friend of mine showed me how to replace disc brake pads. I took 2 sets up. He had a look at the front, said they don't need doing. He said there's a bit of wear and tear on the back. Seeing you brought them up, I'll show you how to do them. That was round about the 1600 mile mark. There was some wear on it, but there was plenty left. So I've been shown how to do that, and I feel confident in doing that. And I also been checking the chain religiously, and at round about 2,000 miles, I know that because I log my rides on Strava, I noticed the chain stretch was getting to approaching 0.75 of a millimetre. I always think that's a good time to change it really, so you don't have to change both the chain and the cassette. So I put a new chain on there. Probably could have got a few more 100 miles on the old one, I just didn't want to risk it, and because I've done that, it's running really smoothly. So it's just over a year old and 2 minor bits of maintenance. The only problems I've had in the year and a bit of having that bike, both self-inflicted or self-stupidity, so I'll just briefly explain. Lent my bike up against the gate for calling nature on my holiday, and as I pulled away, all the chain and the gears were grinding. I realised I just bent the front mech around that alignment. Hadn't bent the mech itself or damaged it, I just turned the clamp. So I pulled in the next gateway thinking I'd have to have a couple of goes to get it lined up right, and I got it right first time. When I took it back home, I put it up on the work stand, I undid the cable and just set it from scratch. So that was self-inflicted, but that was easy to fix on the day. And the other problem I had was at the end of long rides during the spring and early summer, I was getting this horrible creaking at the end of long rides, and I wondered if there's a problem with the frame or a component. I just couldn't figure it out. It seemed to be coming through the handlebars or the stem. I was going to take it to a shop and ask them to strip the headset out and try and fix it or even replace it. In the end, I was just stood by a gate having a call to nature, another gate, and I looked down and I thought, I don't suppose it's the axle rubbing against the fork dropouts. I just happened to have some oil on me, undid the skewer, pulled it out, you know, the little bit of exposed axle you see. I just put some oil on it, rubbed it round, it was ever so dry, tightened it up, just went like that. That took me several weeks to figure that out. I kicked myself afterwards for not realising it. Apart from that, it's been absolutely fantastic. That really was a lovely lunch stop. Thanks very much, Well Garden. So it's a cracking spot, so easy to ride by, you can miss that. Okay, we're going along there, a few hundred yards, and it's on the right hand side. This village goes out, it's spread out all along this road strip, hardly a main road, but it's the village road. There's the church, I can see it from here, right next to the school. There we are, just set up on the right hand side of the main street going through. Nothing in the porch, no stamps, booklets. What there is that lovely wide angle shot of the churchyard and the church. That's really nice. All Saints Oaksey, summer 2021. And again, out in the lights, making sure I know which circle I'm going to put the stamp in. Incidentally, when I was having my lunch, that first stamp is not just yellow, it's glittery. That's really sparkling in the sun. None of the others have. So although it looks kind of yellow goldeny, it's actually glittered. So that's ours there below it. Okay, please be open. Oh no, it's not. It's not after all that. It says door sticks, turn handle and push hard. So I am going to give that a really good shove, but on the other hand, I don't want to set a burglar alarm off. I gave the handle a good turn. You can feel the latch going up on the other side. Gave it a really good shove, but it does feel like it's resisting round about there, which would correspond with the lock. Oh, that's a shame. No stamp here today. What a shame. Our next church is going to be St Leonard's at Minty or Minty, and that was called Minty Lane down there. So I'm guessing that's the way we're going. Till I put the GPS back on, I won't be sure. Oh, what a shame, I'm going to have to come back here. Yes, I can see from the Garmin we're turning right here. It's called Minty Lane, and it's signposted Minty. Oh yeah. Gosh, quite a busy cut through this. I've seen 4 people come through since I've been here. Okay, St Leonard's Minty, that way. You may hear from the camera the wind's picking up. So it is quite a breezy day today. I've had it behind me on the way up from Bath. I knew when I made my turn it's going to be against me on the way home. And that really was the turn back down, that very junction by the church. That's about 1.5 miles. We're coming into Upper Minty. Been through here so many times before, just trying to picture where the church should be. Even though I knew where that one was, I never got in it, did I? Gonna have to revisit. Okay, just follow the garment, I suppose, and keep my eyes open. Down here, I can see from my garment, it goes off to the left. It looks like there's a little dog leg, and then it carries back on that way. So I'm guessing that may be the church, or possibly me just not quite dotting the way marker in the right place on the map. Oh, St Leonard's Close. St Leonard's Church we're looking for. Yeah. It's down there. I can see it more now, zooming in the route. On this bend, we carry on down this gravel track. Obviously be careful. St Leonard's Church, war graves. And there it is. Gosh, must have been through this village so many times and never knew that was there. It's what I love about having a theme, whether it's churches, history, whatever you want to do, long barrows, caves, bell ringing, just having a theme forces you to go and look at places in more detail. Sometimes it's astounding, you think, never knew that was there. South Porch water tap, no vehicles beyond this point. Gosh, a glass outer door. It's got a Yale lock on that, doesn't look too promising. Go and have a look. You'll often get the wire mesh on the outer gate to stop the birds getting in. St Leonard's post box. Plenty of room here for the stamps if they wanted them. Let's hope this one's open. Handle and again it feels that feels like it wants to. Nope, once again it's not. That is a shame. Oh, what's that? Nah, that can't possibly be that is just a bird box being taken down. St Leonard's Minty. Whoever thou art that enterest this church, leave it not without one prayer to God for thyself, for those who minister and those who worship here. Sounds almost like Old English, doesn't it? Recess set back there, I guess statue of St Leonard's would be in there. Grand old roof structure. Gosh, look at all the carvings in there. 700 is that, or 1700, 1699, something 99, gosh, something 06. That's the sort of thing that can sometimes get churches lost 3 grand. Oh gosh, got a cement mortar in there. It's not going to do stonework any good, is it? Strap pointing and cement mortar. No, no. St Leonard's. Okay, let's have a wander around the churchyard. Got some old graves there, look, leaning over. And the east, that lovely tree, whatever it is, dangling, willow tree possibly, I don't know. Chancel window. Gosh, the churchyard goes back an awful long way. Gosh, I wonder if that's a modern grave, look, 1921 to 2025. Gosh, wonder if that's an eco grave, just going to rot away into the ground. much more modern churchyard at the front. Imagine this is more recent. Some of those graves at the back went back a long way and they look quite old. You could just tell by the angle of them how they've started to lean or subside. Okay, so our second church where we cannot get the stamp. Not too disappointed. Although, having said that, the neighbouring Benefice, the Upper Thames Benefice, the one I'll be riding around in a couple of weeks' time after my holiday, I got to pass through this one to get there. So, you know, I can always revisit these and have another go, or even come up on a Saturday or a Sunday when it's more likely to be open. So I'm not too disappointed. The churches is the main thing, really. I don't want to become like a train spotter. It's all about the stamps and collecting them in my book. Okay, let's see where we're heading next. So just to recap, there's the Fossway we took up to about there. Got to Ashley, Credwell, Oaksey. We're now at Upper Minety. We're going to be heading into that westerly wind this afternoon to Hankerton and then Charlton. While we got plenty of sun here, I can see it's Holy Cross, Hankerton. Holy Cross, Hankerton. Holy Cross, Hankerton. With my poor memory, I just find if I actually say it out loud several times, it can sometimes help me retain it. Anyway, back up the main road, bear left, continue the way we're going. Holy Cross, Hankerton. The cycling round here is so good, and the churches are really nice. As I often say, even if you can't get in churches, the churchyards and just their general location or locating them can quite often be an equal buzz. I mentioned at lunch I've been off doing lots of other stuff, just haven't been filming it and posting it. And on the camping trip I was homing in on my campsite and I got a text, which is quite rare for me. Very few people contact me, and I thought it may be from Linda, so I thought I'd better stop and read it. And it was actually from John. John was the motorcyclist who stopped me, introduced himself, told me that he knew of me on the Thankful Village tour a couple of years back. I just dropped off the Pennines and I was in one of the Thankful Village churchyards, actually. Forget the name of the village. Up in Westmoreland. This motorcycle went along slowly, kind of looked at me, turned round, came back, looked at me again. I thought he's going to say something, I don't know what it is. He came up, he said, I know this sounds a silly question, but you're the cyclist who leaves the poppies at Thankful Villages? I sort of went, yeah, kind of gauging. You know, oh, you're quite a talking point amongst us, actually. I said, really? He said, yeah, you're sort of well known. A few people have researched you and found your videos online. And he said, we do it on our motorbikes. I said, really? He said, yeah. I thought I was the only one. And he said, no. And it was him who told me about Boundary 500. Anyway, John, we've spoken a couple of times on Facebook as well. Yeah, we've stayed connected. He texted me on that camping trip to say he was at Toft, at the chapel at Toft actually, and he had just finished visiting all 57 Thankful Villages, and he kind of wanted to let me know. I was really chuffed. I was so made up for him, I really was, because I've still got a couple of years to go with mine. I have to do them in little bits of cycle touring to justify going away that far. So I was really chuffed for him actually, and he sent me a few photographs. And he was at Toft Chapel. That's the one where I went to St Andrew's Church thinking the plaque may be there. And that's when that lovely mother and son told me no, it's at the chapel. So he was there. Anyway, I was right made up for him. That's so good to hear from him as well. Okay, just come along here, coming into the small village of Hankerton. But my Garmin is telling me there's a little dog leg down there, and it's actually called Chapel Lane. So I'm guessing that's where our church is, down there. Let's go and have a look. This is called Chapel Lane. I can honestly say I've never been down here before. I've ridden along that road many times, didn't even know this existed.
Otherwise that's
It's suggesting round here to the left. you can see this looks like a driveway up to a private house maybe, but I'm pretty sure I'm heading the right way because I've just seen a church tower stick up through a gap in the trees. Whether I should have taken that track back there or this one, I'm not too sure. I was going to go back the road, but I've just seen this. It's clearly like a path, a public footpath. Well, footpaths you do not have the right to ride on. I think this is going to take me up to the church. Whether I should have stayed on the road and I've got to it that way, I'm really not sure. My channel is called Andy's Adventures, so I do kind of want a bit of adventure. Oh no, a kissing gate, it's the last thing you want on a bike. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, church number 5 today. Hopefully it's going to be the 3rd stamp. Holy Cross, Hankerton. I'm at the other end of that field, so I had to put my bike up right and get halfway through the kissing gate, close it, then get through the other side. I had to do that, the first gate and then this gate, and now we're in the churchyard. But look, there's car over there and buildings. I could have got this from the road. It feels a bit of an adventure coming this way, but if you're going to follow in my tracks, do not follow in those tracks. Absolutely no need to, it's not necessary. Of the old Cotswold stone church. Classic west bell tower, south porch, nave, chancel facing east. Porch is open. The Garmin's just pinging there, it was purring to tell me I've overshot. If it thinks I'm going to go back that way, it's got another thing coming, not when I could have come in that way, and that's definitely the way I'll be leaving. Thought adventure's coming that way. I'm kind of pleased I did it. I followed the Garmin, but I'd routed it wrong. I should have literally come along here. Anyway, you can see the porch is open, it's quite big, and there's a bit of literature here, but the stamp's not here. Oh, there's a nice old ordnance survey map there. Okay, can we get in here? Oh, no, another one we can't get in. So, Holy Cross, Hankerton, so we're definitely the right church. So where would the stamp be? I thought the idea was the stamps were going to be out on the porch if you couldn't get in the church. Apples, donation box. No reference to this being on the Athelstan Pilgrim way whatsoever. Definitely the right church, look. Hankerton, Holy Cross. No box I'm missing, is there? And it's definitely locked, you can tell. Oh well, another one I'm going to have to come back to. Gosh, look at that cross on the bell tower. It looks like it's festooned with lights. I wonder if that's getting ready for Christmas, or possibly lit up at night all year round. There's a gargoyles that side, the drain pipes at them. So we are here, Hankerton, and we're heading down to Charlton. Literally are on the outskirts of Malmesbury here. Well, as I make my way out into this gravel turn area at the end of a tarmac lane, frustratingly there's a sign for the Athelstan Pilgrim Way. No reference to it whatsoever in the porch. Holy Cross, Hankerton. And now we're heading to Charlton. That really is on the outskirts of Malmesbury. If we go through Malmesbury on the way back, I'll pop in the Abbey and ask them if they use the duplicate stamps to stamp the 3 churches I visited today. Wasn't able to gain access and get the passport stamp. I'm sure I read that somewhere. You know what, I won't be able to find it now, will I? Anyway, onwards to Charlton, church number 6 and hopefully stamp number 3. So, straight onto tarmac, so there's no need to come to that field whatsoever. And this is that road that I was on, Hankerton Lane. It came from Hankerton. This is the lane that came from Minty to Hankerton, and look, it's Church Lane. So I made the mistake of turning up Chapel Lane, guessing there used to be a chapel there. You need to come along to Church Lane, and it does say there, look, it's no through road. So we're going to continue that way. So that track up by the boundary sign, Chapel Lane, and the trek through the fields and the 2 kissing gates, I shouldn't have done that as my mistake in the planning stage. This is called Cloakley Road, Malmesbury, Charlton, and the very next village within about a mile, Charlton. I can see the church from here. Okay, I've just had a bit of a funny 5 minutes. So this is called Vicarage Lane. I've just come down from Hankerton, past the boundary for Charlton, looked over to my left and thought, that looks like the church tower. Then it disappeared, then it reappeared. Past the vicarage, which this lane is named after. Thought it's great, it's got to be next to that. And it wasn't. I scrutinised every track going off. I actually went back up there thinking I was leaving the village at this junction. I said to this gentleman, can you tell me where St John the Baptist Church is? I thought it was going to be close to the vicarage. He said it's nowhere near. It's only about a couple of minutes on a bike. So if I just followed the Garmin, stopped having doubts, I'd have come down here, sending me to the right anyway. He said, go along, you'll see a road going off to your left called Park Street. Look out for a phone box, then you'll see it there. I think I'm just having one of those days. What I find is when I do mess up, I just laugh about it. You know, the lack of stamps this afternoon, and then riding down Chapel Lane instead of Church Lane, and those 2 kissing gates, you know, it's all part of the fun, isn't it? Anyway, coming up to the last church, St John the Baptist at Charlton. Let's go and find it. Well, the boundary was about a mile back there, so I came down this road. It really feels like you've left the village, and then you come into another part of it on this sharp S-bend, and this is what he told me to look out for. Park Street, the red telephone box, and there's a welcoming sign, look, to the something century church, 12th century church, I believe that says, yep. They're lovely seeing those. Oh, it's such a nice sign as well, galvanised. And the telephone box is actually being converted into a book exchange. So once again, my Garmin would have got me here. I think I just overthought that, especially as I came down. It felt like that was a village up there. I forgot it's such a big village. It's based around the main road and it's spread out, you know, quite a wide radius. So you come down here, you can see there's plenty of houses down here. Lovely little egg collection box. You come down the gates of this private home. Looks like that car's going to activate it, and there we are, St John the Baptist Church. I love that sign back there at the junction. I love that wooden notice board sign that's been carved in, St John the Baptist, Charlton. Those gates have just electronically closed. Okay, let's go and see if we have any better luck here actually. Say luck, I've actually been really enjoying this. Oh yeah, that's the second, possibly the third dower house I've seen today. I must look that up and see what that means, dower. Not familiar with the term. Plaque in the wall there, the remains of John Lee, who died June the 22nd. 18 something 4, aged 67 years, and also his wife, April the 7th, 1847, 80 years. Little transept, or is it the vestry? The church is open, let's hope it is. Okay, well the stamp's not in the porch, and it does say the church is open, so let's hope it is. As usual, hats and glasses off, mark of respect. Got my pilgrim passport. Oh yeah, while it's light out here, let's just see what we're looking for. St John the Baptist Charlton, that top one in between the red and the glitter. Okay, please, please, please. Yes. Oh, that damp, musty smell. straight away. There's all the literature, plastic covered leaflet, parish chat, visitor's book, and there's the stamp. Said these dispensers at most of the churches, the ones you get into, got copies of the passport, the relevant guide for the Benefice, and also the relevant Stan's Pilgrimage, the children's guide to this. Oh right, there's the cycle route. I might pick up a copy of that. So a 100-mile cycle route has been launched as well. So there's a walk and a cycle route. So I think I'm going to pick that up as well. So again, I'll pay for all of this online tonight. So although I've been riding it as day rides, I've done well over 100 miles. Like today's going to be about 65, just because I've been coming from outside the area. But there is actually a guided cycle ride, and that'll give more information. Oh, there it is. It looks like it's in 2 circuits. 100-mile cycle route. Okay, Stan the dog, I think. Once again, chancel and chapel in there. There's a toy there. It looks like there's bigger dogs here, because the one dog I found earlier on was that size. Tomb, effigies of somebody, pair, facing east. That's all to do with, as I understand it, churches are aligned longitudinally west to east. Not always, but mostly. East being the more important part, the higher level of the church, the chancel, and the windows faced east, which symbolises sunrise. And you'll find graves often do. And when you see tombs like that with the effigies above the carvings, they'll be facing, their feet will be facing east. Symbolises sunrise and rebirth. I think that must be Stan the dog. Yeah. Hello, buddy. There's a name on there. Is that Charlie? Oh, my eyesight's so bad. So although they're called Stan's Pilgrimage, Stan the dog, each dog has a different name. So that one's called Charlie. So I've established outside where I could read it properly. That's the correct circle. Got the ink pad open, giving the stamp a really hard press on a flat surface. And then I'm going to stamp it on a flat surface and give it a good old press. It's hardly come out whatsoever compared to that pink one. But hey ho, I've got the stamp for St John the Baptist at Charlton. So it's a 50% success rate today for the stamps. 6 churches, 3 stamps. Hey ho, visitor's book. There's Andrew. Gonna block out some of his personal information. Cycling the last 2 benefices of the Athelstan Pilgrim. The old buddy, old friend. Oh, and look at that. Can't read the writing, I really can't. But Athelstan Pilgrim's final church. This was their last one, gosh. I think Andrew will probably be finishing before me, because I've got a holiday to go on shortly, so I won't be finishing before that. I'll be finishing after that. Just as I was really made up for John, who texted me to tell me he finished all his visits to the slate plaques at the Thankful Villages. Really chuffed when Andrew finishes his pilgrimage. So there's my entry, 16th of the 9th, 25, Andy C, Bath Somerset, Athelstan Pilgrim Cyclist. 6th of 6 churches today in the Brook Benefice. I hope people can read that. I'm really enjoying seeing all the references to the Athelstan Pilgrim Way. When I first started it, I think I saw one in about 10 churches, but more recently I've been seeing more and more. And today I've seen in each visitor's book, I've seen references to it. Probably more that I didn't see. Okay, I think it must be getting off 4 p.m. I'll check the time, start making my way back to Bath. Okay, it's 10 to 4. I was going to make my way directly back to Bath now and finish the video here, but I've just checked my ride with GPS app, because that's actually got the route embossed on a map. and I can see that I am going back to Malmesbury, so assuming I'll get there before 5 p.m, I should be able to pop in the Abbey, pick up the 3 stamps that I wasn't able to get today. Pretty sure they got duplicates there, copies. I'll finish the video off at Malmesbury Abbey, whether I get the stamps or not. So it's about 3 or 4 miles that way. So I did recall reading during the launch recently that all the duplicate copy stamps would be kept here. I may have imagined that. I can't remember where I read it, whether it was on Facebook, the Athelstan Pilgrim Way website, or the Athelstan website. There's several sources, so I clearly got it wrong. The only stamp he could offer me was the one from Malmesbury Abbey, so I tried anyway. I think what I will do then is revisit the 3 churches on my way to the final Upper Thames Benefice trip in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. So this Saturday I've got a 100-kilometre Audax from Bristol. Really looking forward to that. Luke Hampson's White Horse 100. Going to ride my giant tough road on that, actually. Probably be one of the last to finish. Quite a slow bike, but I just really fancy riding that. And then some holiday, and then the next video in a few weeks' time will be the Upper Thames Benefice, and then, as I said, by then it'll be autumn, kind of end of October, early November. Then I'll start doing some overnights, tramping, youth hosteling, and then hot tent camping. Anyway, if you got this far, thanks very much for watching. See you soon. Take care, everybody.